let's talk about a new initiative that has been launched by the European Union here in Ghana. This is not the only place that this initiative exists. This actually exists at the global level. So it is a replica of what happens at the international stage over here in Ghana. The European Union and the Embassy of the Kingdom of the Netherlands in Ghana have launched the inaugural cohort of the Team Europe's Youth Sounding Board, Ghana. This initiative is aimed at empowering young change makers to play a crucial role in influencing policies and programs that affect their lives and communities. The Youth Sounding Board is a global European initiative aligned with the EU's commitment to youth empowerment. Let's take you to the residence of the European Union here in Ghana.
This is the formal launch of a call for application for the youth of this country to join what we call the Youth Sounding Board. The Youth Sounding Board. This is one of the latest and most exciting and innovative platforms that have been put forward by the European Union, joined by our member states, in that case Netherlands, which is designed by the European Union to ensure that the youth of Ghana has a voice and that this voice is being acted upon in the design, the content, the implementation, and even the monitoring of the European Union funded projects conducted in Ghana. So, creating this space to have the youth contributing to our programs, because your voice is important for us to design those projects, to understand better the way to go for job creation, to support investment, to support education, training, so on and so forth. Your voice is important as well, because you represent 75% of the population of this country, and by definition you are target and the main beneficiary of our undertaking and projects. So it's very fair and very important that we get your views, we get your advice, you get your expectations, and we get your contribution.
If we want the youth to benefit from policies, we need to move faster than we do now. We need to adapt policies so that they benefit young people much better. And we're not good at that because we are slow moving. So we need to be pushed and be advised and be guided. And why do we need that guidance? Because the tortoise is led by old men like me. So I don't know what the youth needs. I don't know what the youth needs in the Netherlands. I don't know what the youth needs in Ghana. So I need to be advised and guided and helped. And we, together with the European Union, can be very complementary.
Hello there, welcome to Diplomatic Affairs. Briefly, I'll be speaking to the Dutch ambassador to Ghana. It's all about the Youth Sounding Board initiative. This is being done with the European Union in partnership with the Dutch embassy also, and we would like to know the role the embassy of the Netherlands plays when it comes to this particular initiative. Anything around youth excites us because we would like to know some of the initiatives that are being introduced in order to empower and uplift the youth. In this case, this won't be the first time that the European Union, together with the Netherlands government or the Dutch government, are actually doing something around the youth, empowering them, and of course creating opportunities and an enabling environment for them to thrive and contribute to the growth of the country. Excellency, welcome to Diplomatic Affairs.
Thank you, Harriet. It's a pleasure to be here.
I want to find out, when we talk about the Youth Sounding Board, briefly, just so anybody can relate to what exactly this seeks to achieve, what are we talking about?
We're talking about a group of 25 young people that we are now calling for young people to apply for that position. So we have 25 positions in a sort of an advisory board to both the European Union delegation in Ghana and to the Netherlands embassy in Ghana. And also with links to youth sounding boards in Brussels, the headquarters of the European Union, and in The Hague, the headquarters of the Netherlands government. So we are looking for young people that can advise us on improving our policies so that there are better outcomes for young people.
Which areas are we focusing on particularly when it comes to Ghana? I'm sure you have done your survey and you are applying this in a way that it can solve some problems when it comes to Ghana. So which areas are we focusing on?
For the Netherlands embassy, we're mainly focusing on the agricultural sector, because still we see that Ghana is importing a lot of agricultural products from Europe, but also from Sahel countries, from neighboring countries like Togo. So agricultural production is more efficient and better there than it is being done in Ghana. And we see so much unemployment in Ghana, so why is there not an efficient agricultural sector in Ghana? So we're working on that in terms of horticulture and also in cocoa. Those are the two sectors that we are focusing on. And what we would like to achieve is that there are more opportunities for young people to get along in those two sectors.
Excellency, thank you so much for talking to us, and we will be following this particular initiative to find out how this goes in terms of empowering the youth and also taking up responsibilities in our society. Agriculture has only 5% of people who usually do or pay attention to this particular area, and like you said, we've been doing a lot of products from the Europe, let me put it that way, right? And it's going to be good for us as a country if we could begin to. But when it comes to the technicalities, do we have experts who will be bringing the expertise to board to empower people and make that sector even more attractive?
Yeah. Well, let me say one thing, that the Netherlands is a small country. We have about 17 million inhabitants, so about half of what Ghana has. But we have also a very small part of the population that works in agriculture. Less than 1% of our population works in agriculture. But if you look at the value of the agricultural production, that is enormous. Last year we exported for an amount of 130 billion euros of agricultural goods and services.
That must contribute so much to the GDP, right?
Yeah, that's a huge contribution to the GDP, because if you compare that to Ghana's GDP is about 80 billion euros. So we exported 50 billion euros more in agricultural goods and services. And that is because we have a highly technological, advanced and very proficient and efficient agricultural sector. So that is what we want to share with Ghana, that we can use some of these technologies in order to improve agricultural production and contribute to economic growth in Ghana.
I'm so grateful. Thanks so much for speaking to us.
My pleasure.
I'm told that there are a number of people who actually came together to share ideas after doing their homework to identify the areas that Ghanaian youth should actually be led into or encouraged to pay attention to. And I'm sure this is part of a bigger solution to the problem. Agriculture is one of the areas that the youth don't really pay attention to when it comes to the various sectors of the economy. When I spoke with the Dutch ambassador to Ghana, he told me that this is one area that the embassy of the Netherlands is very much focused on. And I believe there are so many other areas that we are yet to discover. On the show today, as we are coming to you from the residence of the European Union, head of the EU delegation to Ghana, His Excellency Ichad Ramyandra Surazali, it's the opening of the Youth Sounding Board. And I'm curious because I want to know, if you're watching me from home, I'm sure you would like to know, what exactly is the Youth Sounding Board? What is this initiative about? I have Emmanuel Odonko, and Emmanuel Odonko is a consultant youth development strategy. Obviously, he contributed highly to putting this initiative together. Emmanuel, could you please join me? I'm excited. I have this information here. Consultant youth development strategy. How interesting this is to know that you contributed to developing this particular strategic plan, if I can put it that way, which is to serve as a springboard, sort of, when it comes to the youth of this country. I want to know more about it. Now, schoolers, what is this about? Let's speak in plain terms so that the people watching us at home can also relate and appreciate this initiative.
Thank you. Thank you very much once again for having me. This initiative actually sprang from an idea of the fact that the EU said they wanted to position themselves in the country to be more youth-centric, to be more youth-friendly, and also to see how best they could bridge some of the gaps, and challenges affecting young people in the country. So I think we have to come together. Some of us have to come together and, offer some solutions to some of these challenges which is being faced by young people majorly in the country. So one of them has to do with the Youth Sounding Board, forming or replicating, if I should put it, because the Youth Sounding Board is already in existence in Europe at the
global level, right?
Level, exactly. So EU was like, can we have something similar here? And then we're like, yes, it won't be bad. So we proposed that in the document. That's the National Youth Strategy of the European Union Delegation in Ghana. That document is from 2021 to 2027. So we are still living in that document. However, there were, I wouldn't say even though I contributed, I helped guide to bring that document to life through stakeholder consultations with youth organizations across the length and breadth of the country. So we met with representatives of youth organizations in 2023 across the country. And so we divided the country into 3 zones: the northern zone, the middle belt, and then the southern belt. And then we met with youth organizations leads that get to know what they are doing, and then we also let them understand that this is the EU, this is our mission, this is our vision with young people. How do you think we can represent your interest effectively in a way that will make you thrive in whatever that you are doing? And they looked at some of the recommendations we had on the document, and then they also shared their ideas. So for example, this board, or this Youth Sounding Board, is going to be a group of young people that would advise the EU on youth engagement, that would advise the EU on collaboration, that would advise the EU on networking, and how our interests as young people would be or are going to be met. So that's what they did. They proffered some solutions. They tweaked. They also amended some of the strategies that were in there. Obviously, it's not only the Youth Sounding Board in that document. We have a lot of other initiatives that will be rolled out. We are looking at people within the TVET sector. We are also looking at people within, the influential level sector. So we have our vloggers, our bloggers. We have, people within the art sector too as well. So it is a robust document that seeks to have everybody's interest, considered in that document. So basically, this is to let people understand that we'll have, and it's only going to have fairly regional representations. We have 16 regions. So at the global level, we have 25 young people who advises the EU at the global level on youth engagement and involvement. So if you are going to have something similar here, maybe our own is not going to be 25. Our own is probably going to be lesser or more, considering our demographic dividends in terms of youth population and how we feel that we need that number of representation to advise the EU on the way forward. And I think the EU is also positioned in a way to also receive recommendations. The document is there, all right, but it's still open, and it's it's not a dead end document. It's still open for recommendation. So at the end of the day, as time goes on, there are new initiatives, trends, changes. We look at how to amend and then reflect on that. Yeah.
Right now, Emmanuel, this is very, very interesting. For me, I like to be very practical when it comes to speaking to some of these issues. I like the fact that you are targeting, or the European Union, together with the Dutch embassy, they are targeting the youth. And I like that move first and foremost, because there are so many people out there, young folks out there, who do not even know what to do after school. Those who do not have education are just, stuck, and they don't know where to channel that energy and which basic skill should be their focus. And so it becomes a problem for us as a country. We are wasting so many of the youth, if I can put it that way, or if I can say so. And I think this is one of the initiatives that should be embraced and welcomed, and even it should have the support and interest of the local government. So I think this is great when it comes to this particular initiative. Now, let me ask you the areas. When I was speaking with the Dutch ambassador, he mentioned that their focus is on agriculture. And I've always known that the Embassy of Dutch or the Netherlands is always interested in agriculture, livestock and all of that, produce and all of that. So I want to find out from you, beyond the agriculture focus, what are some of the sectors that we are looking at? Because you mentioned TVET, technical and vocational skills. This is broad. Which other areas are we considering, and how beneficial is this going to be for us practically as a nation?
Okay. So yes, you hit the nail right on the spot and on it, in the sense that it's not only focusing on a particular sector, a particular area. We're also not focusing on those in school. We are also looking at those who are out of school, because with the youth sounding board, we are looking at it from an angle where we are going to have quite a fair representation on the demographic dividend, like I said initially. So, we are going to look at a minimum qualification, which most of the young people in the country have that qualification. For example, we have most of the people having senior high school qualifications. And if you have to bet it down a bit, we'll have much of our young people also having basic, qualification in terms of BEC, if I should put it that way. So in terms of this, we are also looking at it from an angle where everybody's area or special area of focus and expertise will also be embraced. So aside agric, that's the ambassador rightfully said initially, we are looking at TVET, which I already initially said, and then we're also looking at opportunities with those who are within the tertiary level and from the senior high school level. And we're looking at it using flagship programs like the Erasmus Mundus scholarship. That also comes in a long way to also ensure that, we realize the potentials of young people at a very infant level. So why don't we take advantage of the position young people find themselves in to support them, actually? So we are looking at how we could support, young people's, ambitions through schooling, where we intend to make sure that we are going to provide them the needed and requisite, support to thrive in school, to become and also contribute meaningfully to development in the country. That's from that angle to us.
All right. How can one apply?
The application is open. The application is open. So areas to look out for in these times is through the social media platforms of the European Union delegations here in Ghana, and also the official website of the European Union delegation in Ghana. So the link will be shared on these platforms, and young people will take needed advantage to be able to tap into this opportunity. So if you have access to smartphone, or you have access to an internet anywhere you are across this country, you have the opportunity to apply. It's not just for a special set of people, it's for every young Ghanaian who qualifies.
It's for every young Ghanaian who qualifies. But how do we get the locals at the bottom? If somebody has something special and they are not in the urban any of the urban cities and they find themselves in the rural parts of the country? Because I'm looking at how we can localize this message. How do we do that?
Yes. So already that is we have a structure in place at the European Union delegation. So to begin with, I made mention that we had stakeholder engagement workshops engaging with youth representatives, youth CSOs, youth NGOs representatives whose members are in most places or certain instances are in hard to reach areas that the EU cannot reach sometimes. So we already have a pool of these contacts, of these organizations. Before, aside sharing these opportunities on our website and our social media platforms, we also intend to share it with them. So also share it with their networks. That way we get a pool of interested individuals across the country. So that's also an add-on or an area that we are looking at we intend to employ this opportunity through our networks with the youth organizations that we met from the very basic onset of this initiative.
All right. Emmanuel, thank you so much for speaking to us. And I'm super excited about the fact that we will be reaching out to everyone who falls within the category of youth and have them to at least explore this opportunity. Thank you very much for joining us briefly. The European Union is very big on the youth when it comes to what should be done for the youth to be able to also contribute to the country. By doing so, they create employment, they create jobs, they harvest all the sectors together and bring them on board so they can also have a purposeful life. I'm going to be speaking to a lady who has actually done so much at the global level. And she's here with us, joining us because today is a very special day. She is a member of the Global EU Youth Sounding Board. Yes, so we mentioned just when I spoke with the head of the EU delegation to Ghana, he mentioned that there is the Global EU Youth Sounding Board somewhere in Brussels. So she flew in all the way from Brussels to join us here in Ghana. I have Dr. Chiaki Otute and I want to find out from her. Doc, welcome to Diplomatic Affairs.
Thank you.
How are you?
I'm good. I'm happy to be here.
We are happy to have you here. I love this energy. It's very contagious. All right, now let's get talking. When it comes to the youth, I know how passionate the European Union is when it comes to the youth. Really, I am very much interested in anything that contributes to the growth of the youth. Let's talk about the Global EU Youth Sounding Board before we even come to what is being replicated here today. What is this all about?
So basically, the Global Youth Sounding Board is about one word: listening. So it's an initiative by the past European Union Commissioner for International Partnerships, Madam Jutta Opilainen, to listen to the voices of young people in the partner countries of the EU, and then to get our opinions on what we think should be done and how we think things should be done on issues relating and that matter to young people.
Issues that matter to young people. So basically, if I am consuming this information right, what it means is that you are actually taking information or gathering or collecting information from the youth. You want to know what their concerns are, what their challenges are, and what can be done in solving the problems or the challenges that they are faced with. Is that right?
Yes, exactly. And for our cohorts, we actually even decided to go a step beyond what you have just said and to bring to the table our inputs on matters that do not directly affect the youth, but then we also have opinions on, because most of us are experts. I mean, I'm young, but I'm a doctor, so when it comes
You've been on the ground for a while.
So we might have ideas on things that might not necessarily be youth problems, but we would also be able to contribute to them. So it's the problems of the youth and what we also think should be done about the general issues of the world.
Can I say this is a brilliant way of empowering the youth as future leaders of tomorrow?
My goodness, you're so smart. Exactly. Exactly. It's a way of empowering us and also harvesting the unique gifts and ideas and resources that we have. So we are enabling ourselves to be used to actually improve and better the development of the world we find ourselves in.
What are you looking forward to?
So with the Global Youth Sounding Board, our mission has really been achieved. We have been listened to, and I hope to see that here. Currently, our EU ambassador is the listening type, and I hope that continues even if he has to hand over. I hope that it doesn't become just tokenism in the sense that it's done and then nobody really listens to the young people, because I know a lot of brilliant Ghanaians are going to be selected, and there's this tendency to feel fatigued if our brilliance and our intelligence is not being used. So I hope that even as the cohort is being gathered, they are going to listen to them and they are going to actually implement, or even give us the ability to implement the ideas that we might have and involve us in a lot of different areas. And I believe that it will be beneficial for both young people and for our development partners.
Dr. Chiaki Otute, thank you so much for speaking to us. So we've been talking about the Youth Sounding Board. It is a very exciting news for us to share with you. As usual, when it comes to EU-Ghana partnerships, you know that the EU is very keen when it comes to the youth, empowering the youth and creating an enabling environment for them to thrive. So this is one of such initiatives that is here to actually stay and ensure that the youth are empowered enough to contribute to the development of our country. We couldn't have actually spoken to all the stakeholders without speaking to the head of the EU delegation here in Ghana, and we would like to briefly find out. It is the launch, like I said, the opening of this initiative, and the coming days we are going to be on the ground just to learn more about it and get practical with this launch, this initiative. Excellency, welcome to Diplomatic Affairs once again.
How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm fine.
Everybody is here, from the media, you have all the stakeholders here. The Dutch ambassador, whom I engaged briefly, tells me that he is very much focused on agriculture. But before we even delve into the broad area when it comes to this initiative, can we just get very practical about this initiative? What is this all about?
What is it about? This is a very, very valid question. This is the launch of the call for applications. So we are expecting young Ghanaian talents to apply to be eventually member of a board, a committee made of 25 persons between 18 and 32 to help us, to advise us, to give us their views on our ongoing project and our future project. Why is that? We are not hiring 25 people. We are listening to their advices because they have a better understanding what are the expectations, the wishes, the dreams, the hurdles, the circumstances of the youth in the country, and for us to design and align better our projects in order, maybe we can miss something, maybe we can be totally wrong, and in job creation, pushing something which makes absolutely no sense on the ground because there is something we totally ignored. And this is the type of things we need, their expertise, their views. And beyond that, 75% of the population is made of youth. So they are best placed to tell what is topical, what is a priority, what is a lesser priority, so on and so forth. So this is a way, if I sum it up, to make their voice heard, to make their voice valued, to make the voice acted upon. This is an issue of inclusivity, this is an issue of fairness, and this is an issue as well for us of performance, in order to have the programs hitting the nail better than without consulting this constituency, I would say.
How do we identify them?
They identify themselves, and then we gather the applications and there will be a selecting committee, so on and so on. So 25 of them will be undergoing this incredible journey. Incredible for us because we are eager to listen, eager to interact, eager to get their views. This is something that has been launched at global level, and now we are launching it at local level to be closer to the grassroots.
My last question will be, what will be the impact of this initiative?
No, it's an issue of making our project more effective, to having a better connection with the ones for whom this project matters most. We are speaking about training, education, job creation, agriculture, security, fight against corruption, cocoa, whatever. This is about the life of the people. Remember what we have said last year. We want to be people-centered. So if you have this people-centered approach, the core of the core of the core, given the demography, is the youth. So you cannot be closer.
So you are empowering the youth to be able to take on the challenges of the country and even beyond the country at the global level.
Exactly. Precisely.
Thank you so much for
Yes.
speaking to us. Okay, so today I'm wrapping up with the European Union, head of the EU delegation to Ghana. It appears the European Union is looking at ways of sharing ideas, taking information, collecting information, especially when it comes to youth policies. What they want to do is to be youth centered. They want to involve the youth. They want to bring the youth to the table. They want to empower them as the future leaders for tomorrow. And so this approach is one of the approaches that they have adopted to get the youth to the table, give them a seat so they can also share their ideas. By doing so, they actually are able to tell what the challenges are, what the impediments are, what the hurdles are, and how can we collectively actually put this or consider this in our policies so that you can also benefit when it comes to government and then EU relations, or Ghana and then European Union relations. So the EU is being very deliberate. And of course, this is the kind of partnership that we need in order to advance to the next stage when it comes to our aspirations as a country. Ichad, do you have anything you want to say? It seems like you are doing the work with me today.
No, yes, this is a shared undertaking because we believe in the reach of this program, and we want the youth, as you said, to have this seat at the table. I think this is a good image. The youth deserve that their voice is heard. They deserve a seat at the table, and we will collectively benefit out of it. Miss less opportunity, be more topical, straight to the point, more effective, bigger impact. Everybody's happy.
You want to wrap up for me?
So this was a special assignment shared by the European Union and Diplomatic Affairs. Madame Harriet, straight from the EU residence to the world, to Ghana, to the youth of Ghana.
Thank you very much. I think you want to take my job from me, but you can't be here again because otherwise I might get fired and you will be employed. My name is Harriet Nati, and
Irshad Razali.
all right, see you next time.